Ladies and gentlemen, let's bid our warmest welcome to our first speaker, Mr. Ira Paulo Pozon. Ms. Ira participated in the prestigious International Business Leadership Program conducted by the U.S. State Department with the focus on the U.S. foreign policy. Upon being called to the Philippine bar, Ira was appointed by the then Philippine Vice President Judicial by name as his legal counsel. During his free time, Ira was a professional lecturer of law at two of Manila's universities. Today, Ms. Ira will share experience in engagements, investments in Philippines. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. My name is Ira Paulo Pozon. I'm a lawyer from the Philippines, and it is my absolute honor to be here to speak to you today about the opportunities and challenges in the Belt and Road Initiative with regards to the Philippines. 我很荣幸有受邀参加今天的会议，谢谢。我的中文名是拜仲杰，我的老师给我这个名，我很同意他叫我仲杰，但我不知道为什么我的姓名白，我是菲律宾人吗 ？Anyway, I'm just joking. I've been a lawyer since 2010, studied in the Philippines under Far Eastern University. I took my Master's of Business Administration from the De La Salle University, and I graduated my Master's of Law in International Commercial Law in the University of Nottingham in the United Kingdom. I've also been a lawyer since 2010, and for 6 years, 从2011年到2016年，我是菲律宾的副总统的律师。So my practice has been investment, trade, government relations, and public policy. Now we go to the Belt and Road Initiative. EJILU is China's vision for the new global connectivity, and it would benefit 68 countries, 4.4 billion people, and contribute as much as 40% of global GDP. It is the world's largest infrastructure plan since the Marshall Plan after World War II. But we believe that it is much better than that. It focuses on many underdeveloped economies across the western parts of China towards Eastern Europe and Africa. The focus being economic development as opposed to the Marshall Plan, which is to rebuild war-torn areas. And it would have what would be mutually beneficial results for the economies and their development. This is a picture of some of the landlocked areas for Belt and Road. And this is the graphical representation for the Maritime Silk Road. As you can see, Philippines is right over there, which is very convenient in terms of maritime trade. And one of the reasons why I'd like to speak to you today is you can actually identify many opportunities for trade and investment in terms of, let's say, your clients or your businesses with us. First question is, why the Philippines? Why siya Philippines? We are very strategically located in terms of geography. We are in the South China Sea. We are only a short hop by plane and by ship towards, and it's perfect stop on the way if you're heading towards, let's say, Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, etc. We're also near a lot of Chinese ports. My flight from Manila to Guangzhou was only 1 hour and 30 minutes. It is very convenient in terms of business and trade as well. In Xiamen, it's also around the same time, less than 2 hours. Again, why the Philippines? Philippines. China is the largest trading partner of the Philippines. It has been the largest trading partner of the Philippines for the past couple of years. And last year alone, China's total trade with the Philippines was almost 15% of the entire trade of the country at $1.6 billion US worth. So you can see we've already imported and exported a lot of products to and from China from the Philippines. Largest imports and exports are electrical components as well as steel, which compose as much as 15% of our trade and valued at $11.355 billion. From the Philippines, in the first trimester alone of last year, we have China being the largest in terms of exports and as well in terms of imports. We also have a lot of Chinese tourists now coming to the Philippines, primarily because of more travel routes to and from our countries and the new visa upon arrival policy of both countries. For example, I did not have to fly a Philippine airline coming here. I did not have to fly an international airline coming here. I came here through China Southern, which now has more air routes from Manila and key places within China. In 2017, Arling Ichinien, there were 6 million foreigners who visited the Philippines. If you've heard of Boracay, if you've heard of Palawan, Bohol, or even in just the cities, Manila, Makati. So many now are visiting. Chinese tourists to the Philippines is now the second largest component of tourists to the country, second only to South Korea. And our target for 2018 is actually 7.4 million foreign tourists. Again, why the Philippines? The Philippines is growing. In terms of the region, other countries, we are one of the fastest growing developing economies today. The past couple of years, since 2016, we've averaged a gross domestic product of around 6.5 to 6.8%, and the target is actually 7% per year of GDP growth by 2020. And as you can see, the growth of the Philippines in terms of its regional neighbors in ASEAN as well as in the Asia-Pacific region, there's a lot of potential in dealing with the Philippines. Now we go to the legal and policy framework. I know a lot of you are lawyers, so you would be a little bit more interested in this. There was a time when the Philippine government owned and operated most of key industries. But because of the lack of advantage, they realized it's time to privatize certain industries. You can't have government running electricity, water, or even the operation of roads, highways. So they started to recognize that comparative advantage of private industries in running, operating, and building these industries. One of our main One of the main vehicles before was actually a form of a public-private partnership called Build, Operate, Transfer. What the foreign investor would do is he would come in, get a government concession, build the infrastructure, operate for, let's say, 20 to 50 years, and then transfer ownership and management to government. Some of our largest highways in Manila are under this type of thing. Now the shift is towards a public-private partnership, which was initiated more by President Aquino in 2010. Today, President Duterte wants a hybrid form of a public-private partnership. He wants a foreign investor to come in, but only as regards operations and management. We recognize that the foreign investors would have an expertise in running, let's say, a bridge, a tollway, water infrastructures, etc. But in order to serve the employment needs of Filipinos, he wants government to do the building. And the opportunities in the Philippines are quite numerous. If you can see, we have power plants, highways, roads, ports, seaports, airports, even telecommunications, IT systems. Land reclamation is one of the projects that was signed by the President or his staff last week in the Boao Forum. Tourism, education, all the way down to buildings, highways, etc. Now, what you can do here is, we are not strictly identifying all the projects. Government does not know everything it needs to do, and they are open to unsolicited proposals. Let's say we've identified the need for a new road or a new bridge. We can actually make that proposal, give it to the relevant government entities in order to find the proper investors or operators. Aside from those that have already been considered and already been found by government. And President Duterte has promised a faster and more expeditious way of approving the entire process for investment all the way down to project implementation. What used to take as much as 1 year project planning stage, he wants done in a month or 2 months. And the way that our investors will earn, let's say your clients, is through two different ways. One, that like in the instance of one of our highways, every user, every driver who passes that highway will pay a toll. The operations management part is operated by the foreign investor. He gets his payment, basically, through the payment of that toll. Another way is through the outright government payment or concession. Government will pay you in order to build or operate the facility or the industry. And we have development opportunities nationwide. Us lawyers, we now have a new niche market to practice. This is not the usual contract law. This is not the usual obligations and contracts. Now we have an opportunity to grow our expertise in terms of project finance, trade and investment, mergers and acquisitions, special contracts like joint ventures, and like myself, dispute resolution and arbitration, as well as public policy and government relations. We have to understand this creates a new opportunity for so many of us, whether lawyers alike, and of course for our clients. And for the investors and clients, you now have improved access to this new growing developing economy. New systems of commerce. For instance, I was here, I lived in Fuzhou for 1 year. I've been using Weixin, I've been using Alipay. We want to bring that to the Philippines, but what is the number one problem in the Philippines that we cannot be able to implement this? Woman, the Shangwang is so slow. 3G, 4G, LTE, Dokukui, it cannot work. And now President Duterte is working on increasing the internet speed. In order for these new channels, these new investments, and these new vehicles for commerce to actually work. Sometime last year, Jack Ma visited the Philippines. He came to my university, the La Salle University, and gave a speech. And one of the things he said, when I arrived in your airport, I tested the internet speed. No good. President Duterte and other individuals took notice of that and are actually working on a better solution. We also have to understand that there are certain challenges in types of cross-border or international deals. Number one, culture is a big factor. I have the benefit of living and working here. I've gotten to know so many Chinese friends, and I've understood how important, let's say, Guangxi is. We also have to understand regulatory frameworks and the law. Business practices are highly important. And we have to be able to defeat the problems of the past in terms of Chinese and Philippine investment relations. In many of the largest deals between our two countries, so many have been invalidated or criticized because of some form of corruption on one side or the other. For example, the North Rail contract, the Piatco contract, the Pea Amari deal, and perhaps what you may know more is the NBN-ZTE deal for the nationwide broadband network. As early as 3 presidents ago, we wanted a faster, easier internet through broadband. We were talking with NBN and ZTE, and we had a problem because of certain individuals within the government and within the private industries at that time. So we have to be able to fight all these different forms of corruption. It's just crucial in order for us to succeed in terms of our projects and in gaining the best out of all these opportunities. Now, what are the solutions to these challenges, and how can we be able to maximize these opportunities? Go for people with a mutual expertise, not just in law, but business and culture. We have to be able to relate to government. There's nothing we can do without dealing with government, and that's crucially important. Transparency and due diligence are very important, very key. And in order to best identify the markets that your clients or your investors and businessmen would like to engage in proper market analysis and feasibility studies. Thank you， 谢谢大家。如果你们想看看机会在菲律宾，这是我的名片，还有我的微信。It's also in your books, so if you have questions, 你们有问题, please just talk to me. I'm right here. Thank you very much and have a great afternoon. 谢谢，非常感谢。